So, looking high above the corkscrew, we just got a quick glimpse there, and we heard a little bit from Kev, but I think his mic might have gone out of range or whatever. But either way, we do have something very special for you coming up. Another demonstration, an automotive exhibition. Gordon Murray, you know, one of the great designers from McLaren back in the day, and well, you wonder why McLaren have got road cars. Well, Gordon Murray's the reason, or one of them anyway. And we now have the latest iteration. We saw it or got a glimpse of it last year here at Laguna, but now we're going to see it on track. And I'm delighted to welcome Nick Hoyle from my good old country of the UK, where these things are made. Nick, what are we looking at here?
Hi there. Well, you've got all three of our Gordon Murray automotive products here. The red car you can see, T50S, is our new track car. That is a very lightweight, less than 900 kilos, 700 horsepower, naturally aspirated V12 that screams all the way around to 12,000 RPM.
I know. I spoke to Gordon last year, and he said, I just wanted it to be over 1,000.
Yes, yeah, exactly. 700 horsepower and then 1,400 kilos of downforce in this configuration. So we've got Dario Franchitti showcasing that today. And that's in final development at the minute, and then the lucky 25 customers of this track car will get those at the beginning, sometime during next year. In the middle is our current production car, T50. PS4, the blue car you can see there, is the final prototype vehicle before all the production cars. Now we've built and handed over about 25 of the 100 production cars of T50 to their lucky customers, with the remaining 75 coming towards the end of this year. Now that's pretty unique. It's a three-seater car, a natural aspirated V12 again 12,000 RPM, 665 horsepower, and again very, very lightweight, so 2,200 pounds, or just under 1,000 kilos. And the USP really for all the cars here, for us as a company, is driving perfection, lightweight engineering art, and really making sure we're looking after our customers. So as I said, we only have 100 customers for each of the models, and we like to bring them along with the journey with us. So.
Now, is that by design in terms, or is that due to, you know, parameters, really? I mean, certainly, you know, when you go into production, you got to think about how much you want to scale up.
Sure.
But is that also to keep it as elite? Not elite, that's the wrong word, but as exclusive.
Yeah, that's right. Exclusive, yes, absolutely. So here goes Dario and T50S.
Now, you told me a story about how McLaren cars came to be. Do you want to tell it again?
Yeah, sure. So. Yeah, Gordon was coming back from one of the Grand Prix with Ron Dennis and Mansour Roger.
And was part of the team.
He was running, he was technical director of the Grand Prix team, and they decided they needed to make a road car. And so that from that point in 1990, McLaren cars started with Gordon running the company. And the car that they were making was the McLaren F1. Now T50, the blue car you can see here, is the F1 reimagined 30 years later. So Gordon, still very, very active in our company, Gordon Murray Automotive, still very active, working every day with us. So a few years ago said, come on then, let's make a new road car. We're going to make another three-seater, another naturally aspirated V12, but we're going to do it, you know, 30 years on with 30 years later technology. And so we've got a very lightweight carbon fibre structure. You sit in the middle, so you're putting the driver at the centre of the action. We're giving a manual gearbox, a 6-speed manual gearbox to use. So driver involvement is absolutely what we're all about here. So give them a lightweight car, all the interaction of a manual gearbox, and it's going to be happy as Larry. This is absolutely not a numbers car. So we're not shouting about massive power values. We're not talking about massive downforce values. The reason the car works on track in this environment is because we put the attention to detail in to make sure it's really lightweight and making sure we've got a really responsive, good power from the engine.
I always think when I think of, and I know back in the day when it was announced that the F1, the McLaren road car would come into being, I suppose, like a lot of purists, was a bit cynical, saying, "Oh, come on, you know, you can't go head to head with the history of Ferrari and some of the great marques, Mercedes, and so on and so forth, and build a supercar and create a niche in a market that it has so few ways to do that,
sure.
And also stand out amongst Lamborghinis, Ferraris, etc., Bugatti, whatever you want to talk about." But I think, and it's true today, and you mentioned the fact that 30 years on, it looks like a McLaren. It has the lines of a McLaren, and they've managed to create a piece of the market that no one else has got. And you know, when you see that car, your first thought is, oh, is that a Porsche? No, it never is that.
Yeah.
You're like, that's a McLaren, and that is not easy to do.
No, I think that. Yes, it does have some inspiration from the McLaren F1, but here at Gordon Murray Automotive, we're really trying to be our own thing. So I think that now the McLarens of today, the Porsches and Ferraris of today, look very different, don't they? And we're absolutely. You can see on screen now, T33 is our second vehicle, our development car at the minute. And this is very much a return to beauty. It's a car where function follows form, really. So we're going for a very elegant, beautiful aesthetic based on 1960s sports racing cars. So Gordon has a real passion for those, particularly Italian sports racing cars, things like the Tipo 33. In terms of Porsche, the 908 Porsche, and there's even little bits of Lamborghini Miura in that you can see. So on the one hand, we've started off with T50, and it is kind of the successor to the F1, and so it takes some inspiration from that, but goes its own path. T33, return to beauty, so uses a very similar V12 engine. It's our own primary structure, aluminium and carbon fibre. Again, very lightweight, and again putting the driver involvement front and centre. And
you're saying you're building 100, or the idea is 100 of each?
That's right. So 100 T50s, and they're, as I said, in production right now, going to their lucky customers. We're actually building 25 of the track car. And then we're building 100 of each of 3 variants of T33. So a coupe, which you can see on track, a Spider, which we've just been showing to some customers and press here in Monterey Car Week this week, and a third variant we haven't launched.
Well, there's the checkered flag. And last question.
Yes, sir.
I guess when you get down to those tiny numbers,
yeah.
Can you, like Ferrari and like some of the other big supercars do, can you kind of custom make the interiors of the car?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, so we do offer bespoking services and plenty of options on that regard. So I think what I haven't mentioned, I should really do so. T50 is known as the fan car. So
yes,
additional aerodynamic advantage there. So you can see the fan on the back of the car, and that's just helping energise the diffuser, get some more efficiency out of the diffuser. We've got such an aggressively sharp shape to lead in the diffuser. We've got all that space to do that. We're using the fan to pull the boundary layer from the diffuser and increase the downforce by 50%.
Wow.
So we're kind of drawing a line between the F1, as I said, and also the 1978 BT46B Brabham fan car, so which you'll remember won the Swedish Grand Prix in '78 with Niki Lauda driving. So another Gordon designed car. So yeah, just taking that inspiration.
So he's got his own personal touches that are kind 100%. Of his, like any artist, I suppose, or
absolutely
creator.
Right.
He's got his touch that says, yes, that's mine, and everybody knows it.
Definitely, 100%, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming
pleasure.
in, Nick. And as he dives down for the last time down the corkscrew, we'll put this demonstration to bed. But fantastic to see these cars, and fantastic to see one of the greats. And that's part of what we're celebrating here. So talking about Gordon Murray and seeing his cars is absolutely apropos as part of the 50th celebration, given that we're talking about the likes of Peter Gregg and Parnelli Jones and Jim Hall and so many of the great innovators. So yeah, Dan Gurney, I mean, we could go on, but but it's great. So thank you so much for coming in, and best of luck with all 300 cars. I'm sure they'll go out the door quick.
They certainly will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And with that demonstration over, we'll take a short break here from the 50th. Lost 20 years for a second. The 50th reunion here at Rolex and Laguna Seca. Join us after the break. More great racing to come. We've got some loud cars coming up.